videotape. Now, look up there, and I'm gonna jump across this. Keep on looking.
Here he goes. He's gonna jump across. Jump across. Here he goes.
Oh.
Can't really.
Okay, press that big button again.
Are you the nostalgic one? Do you reminisce more than others? Do you find yourself wanting to take road trips to the past, but when you arrive, there's no one there? This sometimes makes the memories feel lonely. I'm that way myself. I think being so keen to remember is a blessing, but in our remembering, we can sometimes stay in the past a little too long. I live close to my old giant high school and will sometimes ride my bike through the hallways at night and think about the time we got a group of 50 band kids to play Capture the Flag at midnight until the cops showed up, or when my friends and I snuck into the stadium to see if we could throw frisbees from one end zone to the next, or where I was standing where I got dumped, or the classroom where I discovered that I love telling stories and I have to stop. This can't be healthy, right? Once again, I stayed a little too long. I, without a doubt, get my nostalgia from my dad, who often sends me throwback posts on Facebook or will randomly hand me a forgotten keepsake from my childhood. My dad is really positive, so I don't know if his reminiscing has the same kind of lonely tinge as mine, but the whole thing feels hereditary. I'm sure if you're the nostalgic one too, you can point to someone in your family line who often dips into the past. I think it's interesting how this nostalgia can take shape from generation to generation. We make fun of our grandma's Facebook reposts that say things like, "Back in my day, we used to watch the wheat fields for fun," or "Nowadays, everybody's got a Ring camera, but when I was growing up, we all left our front doors unlocked." We make fun of these low-res memes, but we do the exact same thing when we listen to the original Minecraft soundtrack, or think about Christmas parties at school as a kid, or share a picture of a toy that we used to want that was discontinued, or see a copy of one of our favorite childhood book series. When framed this way, I feel sort of sad when I see Grandma's posts. She bore her youth in a different world than us, and God forbid she misses watching the pheasants in their flock casting shadows over the wheat field that is now a parking lot. And God forbid she misses when the neighbors would come over twice a week to share meals when now her cul-de-sac is hushed, as all are locked within. I like to believe that every generation has harkened back to their childhood with melancholy since the beginning of time. I wonder if an old Egyptian born in 5 AD thought about how much quieter the world was before the Romans came, or if someone born at the turn of the 20th century would lay awake at night and remember their schoolmates that were lost to the trenches of the Great War, or how we think about our world before the internet arrived. This has taken shape in a recent internet trend you might have heard of called liminal spaces. The concept of what these images are and what they really represent in our psyche is not exactly clear to me. I suspect it has something to do with how our generation processes a time before the internet and social media, and this perpetual longing for the simplicity of a late 90s, early 2000s childhood. But the why behind these images is not what I'm interested in. I'm interested in the way that they make me feel. For some, these might have no effect, and that's okay, but when I look at them, they move me. They give me this sense of nostalgic melancholy, a comfort, and a longing, the same feelings I find when I visit my memories, but here, it stems from images of people as places that I've never been before. I wanted to engage in this art form myself, so I did some research and bought a used Nintendo DSi off of eBay. The DS cameras were notoriously horrible. They perfectly encapsulate that grainy early 2000s aesthetic of pictures taken on Blackberries or Motorola Razors. It seemed silly to me at first, buying an old game console to take pictures, but think about it. This is the equivalent of someone born in the 70s buying an old Polaroid from a thrift shop. These cameras are lenses to worlds where we existed as children, worlds that no longer exist, What you've been looking at are the results of my week-long venture into liminal photography. I think they turned out pretty good. Most generations believe that the world they grew up in was better than the one that exists now. And sure, there's definitely some things to be said about the erosion of society, specifically here in America, but I think a lot of our yearning for the past is just simply yearning for childhood. We often see our past with rose-tinted glasses because we saw those years through the lenses of wonder. Every day I chase that feeling of wonder. Many of us do. We catch glimpses of it every now and then, but it is heartbreaking because I believe that I will never feel it with such potency again. And it is sad, but it reminds me how desperately we need to protect and foster this sense of wonder in every new generation. Many, sadly, have it stripped away from them far too early. There's been 1,000 works of literature and film that attempt to capture this sense of childhood lost. One of my favorites is the His Dark Materials series by Philip Pullman. These books were marketed as YA novels, but they spoke to me most true as an adult discovering what it means to be one. It is a beautiful storytelling that really captures this sense of childhood lost in a way that significantly changed how I perceived my younger years. It's funny how I was told 100 times as a child to enjoy being young while it lasts. I was told to enjoy high school, to enjoy college, because it'll be gone before you know it. And they were right. I'm left now with the nostalgia of these years. I'm sure our generation, when we grow old, will tell the next generation the same, and they will not listen. Like we didn't listen. We didn't listen as kids because the advice really wasn't for us, was it? I think it was our previous generation's way of saying youth is beautiful, and I miss it. I think I've lingered here a bit too long. I hope my words don't steal your hope for the present or for the future. I hope they don't tinge your memories with sadness. Really, I use words like melancholy and bittersweet when I think about the past, because as much as I long for a simpler time, I am thankful that these memories exist at all. They made me who I am, and it is such a blessing that a younger me got to live them. As I'm writing this script and dipping into my memories, my dog is curled up in her bed next to me. My wife is at work, and I miss her a lot. If you're nostalgic like me, remember, we cannot dive into the past for far too long because our present needs us. Someday I'll view this present moment with the same nostalgia I viewed my childhood. So, I'm gonna finish writing the script, I'm gonna love on my dog, and take my wife on a dinner date when she gets home from work. My memories will always be here, but the present never will. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this, please subscribe, and I would be honored to continue making videos like this one. Goodbye.
Daddy, how would they die?
Sammy, I just think about it.